Rodriguez, if you don't know me, and this is where we normally do yoga on Wednesday nights. Wow. I wish that I had something incredible to bring to you guys, but I have to be 100% transparent and truthful, and I'm just at a loss. There's so much going on. Every day is a new thing, and it it totally reframes your whole idea when Jesus says, don't worry about tomorrow, and tomorrow has enough trouble of its own. Yeah, are you kidding me? We can only live day to day in this time. And so tonight, I don't have any crazy, awesome, inspiring words for you. But what I do have is how I've been working through this. Yoga means to yoke the breath, and in yoga we yoke our breath with movement, and through that movement we meditate on God's word, thus creating this moving meditation. And that's what I have for you. I'm going to invite you to work on those breath prayers that we've done so many times on Wednesday nights in class. And even in those times where we have things that are not this monumental, that we feel like we're struggling with, those practices of the breath prayer, the practices of staying in God's word, in prayer with Him, those are the things that are building that foundation for us to get through these days, these real uncertain days, not just those overwhelming days that maybe the store was too busy for me, or my kids were arguing too much. Those things, while they are important and do add stress, they obviously, everyone can see, do not compare to what we're going through now. And so we're going to use those building blocks that we had done before as our foundation. We're going to use tonight in the form of a breath prayer. So if you want to first just find a simple seated position on your mat. We're going to start with alignment first, just by finding those sit bones. So that bonier part of your glute, you can just let your hands fall nice and relaxed on your knees. We're going to bring our shoulders up over our hips. And then if you can, just gently let your head rest just slightly behind you so that we can get those ears directly above the shoulder. So if I turn to the side here, you could see that we're just trying to create that nice long line all the way from our tail to the top of the crown. Now, if you want to just bring even more awareness of that breath, you can place your one hand, doesn't matter which, you can place one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. And as we inhale through our nose, we're going to let your belly fill up with air. So you can feel that with your hand. And then as you exhale, just soft sigh it out through your mouth as that belly button travels towards your spine. So you continue with this deep yogic breathing. So finding that rhythm. And I'm going to open us up in prayer as you sit here. So, Heavenly Father, plainly and honestly, I have nothing. I have nothing but you. I have the breath that you've given me, and I have the words that you've given us. And Lord, I pray that you would work through those things. You know what each of us is dealing with. You know the fears that each of us have, because you love us. You are so infinite and big that you have a love for each of us and you know each of us so intimately, Lord. And so I'm asking you, fill this space here with me and fill each of the rooms that are here, Lord, that with each of us, and fill them with your Spirit. We need to feel you now more than ever. We want to feel your presence. We want to be restored and renewed by you, by your breath, by your word, nothing else. So we're just giving you this time that we are going to spend with you. In Jesus' name. And so as you keep breathing, how a breath prayer works is you are going to breathe in some words, and then we're going to exhale. And so you can choose to pick whatever is going to be right for you. I can trust that the Lord is going to give you something. If it's not what I have for you, it's something that he has for you. It's something, like I said in the prayer, he is a personal God who loves you and knows you so intimately. So you listen for where that is coming from. And if you need a little help to get started, I have these verses from Psalm 46. Verse 1 says, God is our refuge and our strength, a helper who is always found in times of trouble. So maybe as you breathe in, God is our refuge and strength. And then as you exhale, maybe you exhale verse 2. Therefore, we will not be afraid, though the earth trembles and the mountaintops topple into the depths of the sea. So inhaling, God is our refuge and our strength. And then as you exhale, just exhale, I will not be afraid. Inhaling, God is my refuge. And exhaling, I will not be afraid. So we're going to begin with some movement now here. We're going to inhale our arms up overhead, keeping those shoulders down and away from the ears, and then exhale, arms down. Deep breath in, arms come up. Exhale, arms down. One more time, arms come up with the inhale, and then as you exhale, this time we're going to drop that right hand and just lean over to the right side. We're really trying to anchor that left hip into the mat as we reach really long with that left hand. Deep breath in, arms come back up to the center. Exhale, lean it over to the other side. Same thing, really rooting that right hip down into the mat so we can feel that big stretch on that left side body, that right side body. Deep breath in, arms come back up to center. From here, we're going to take a twist. So next exhale, we're just going to twist over to the right. So kind of hooking that left hand and planting that, or hooking that left hand, planting the right hand behind you, and then growing tall, just like we were in simple seated. We're pressing into the mat with our sit bones, and then rising tall through the crown towards the ceiling. And then maybe if you need a little bit more, you can just turn your head over that shoulder. Last big inhale. And then this next exhale, we're going to come all the way over to the other side. Same thing, planting that opposite hand and hooking that opposite hand. Turning your head towards your shoulder if that's for you. If it's not, that's okay. Just keep it right here. And then go ahead and exhale, come back to the center. From here, we're going to take some seated cat-cows. So placing the hands on your knees. With the inhale, we're going to scoop forward and open up in the chest. So we get a nice big arch in the back. You can turn your gaze up towards the ceiling if you want. And then as you exhale, we just round out the spine. Head or chin comes down towards your chest. And then as you inhale, we're coming back into that cow pose. So finding a couple of these with that deep breath. And not losing that breath prayer. So inhaling that, God is my refuge. And then exhaling, I will not be afraid. And then after that last cat, you can come back to a neutral spine. We're going to come into a tabletop position or all fours. From here, we're going to open up the backs of our shoulders. So as you're ready, keep your gaze right in between those two hands. We're going to inhale and bring our right arm out first. And then as you exhale, you can scoop that arm underneath the left and bring your left arm nice and long ahead of you. Hips can be up nice and high. The corner of the right side of your forehead is on the mat. And you should feel that stretch in that right shoulder. With your next exhale, you can nice and slowly just untwist. We're going to take that on the other side. So inhaling your left arm up this time. Exhaling, scooping that arm underneath the right. Right hand comes nice and long ahead of you, and you should feel the left shoulder open up on the back side. Breathing in. And then nice and slowly we'll come back into tabletop. From here, let's take a couple cat-cows in this position too. So with your next inhale, we'll drop the belly, open in the shoulders, and then exhale, round up the spine. So similar feeling to that seated cat-cow. Just one more. Using your own breath, you don't have to match my movement. And then coming back to neutral spine. From here, we're just gonna turn our nose towards our hip on the one side, and then come all the way over to the other side. So we're really making the one side nice and small so that other side can open up. And it's just good for your spine to move around in ways that you maybe normally wouldn't. And then come back to the center. And then go ahead and let the hips come down towards your heels. You can bring your knees wide if you want. Arms come out ahead of you and just place your head on the mat. Working those hips down towards your heels. So coming into child's pose here. Not losing that rhythm of breathing. Go ahead and come back up into that tabletop position. Wrists are underneath the shoulders and knees are under the hips. we're gonna bring our right foot forward first, coming into this modified lunge. So right foot or right knee is bent, we're on the back knee, and we're gonna inhale and come right up through the center. From here, let's see, as we inhale, we're going to lean forward into that hip and bring our elbows down towards our sides. So we're opening up that chest as our shoulder blades come together behind us. And then the exhale is going to bring the arms up high. So inhaling, coming into that shoulder, we're doing these cactus arms, maybe even splaying out those fingertips. And then exhaling back to the center. We're going to take that a few more times. You don't have to, again, follow my breath. You use your breath, your rhythm. Inhaling, God is my refuge and my stronghold. And exhaling, therefore I will not be afraid. So we're breaking up that tension that we hold in our shoulders. If you are doing a lot of keyboard work or phone work, getting all of that stuff back open, go ahead and let this one be your last one. And then we'll frame that front foot. We're actually going to plant that left hand on the inside of the right foot. And then we're just going to turn open for a nice easy twist, reaching high with that right hand towards the ceiling. You can bring your gaze to that hand, or you can just look towards the side wall. I don't know where you're looking at, where you're at. And then frame that front foot. Come back into tabletop, and then we are going to take that on the other side. So first, framing that front foot. Deep breath in right through the center. And then here we go. We're inhaling as the elbows come down, open through the chest. Even pulling that right hip forward. So really squaring those hips up. And then exhaling back to the center. Deep breath in, open up through the shoulders. And then exhale back to the center. Deep breath in. Find your moving meditation. Go ahead and let this one be your last one. And just like on that other side, we're going to plant that right hand, and then we'll twist towards that front leg. And then frame that front foot. Back foot comes back into tabletop. We're going to come into our first down dog here. So pressing that whole hand into the mat so that the eyes of your elbows are facing away from you, forward. We want to make sure that there's no space between that index finger and the thumb. So whole palm goes in the mat, curling the back toes. I'm going to take a deep breath in to inhale. And then as you exhale, we're lifting through the ribs and setting our hips up nice and high. And then once you get there, just go ahead and pedal out those legs. So just bending each of the knees. We are looking to make an upside down V. So arms are straight. The top of your head is coming down towards the mat. And your knees can be so super bent. We're not trying to get the aim is not to get the heels on the ground. Then we come into some weird sort of, high plank, not an upside down V. So let's just stick to doing what our bodies can, bending those knees if you need to, no shame in that. From here, we're gonna look to the top of your mat. Go ahead and just walk nice and gentle to the top. Keeping your feet together, we're gonna put a deep bend in the knees. Inhale, rise all the way up. So arms come out wide and high, and then exhale them down. dive it forward. So nice straight back as you come all the way down. We're gonna take 2 halfway lifts. So deep breath in, palms come to the shins, lift up halfway. Nice straight back. Exhale, fold. Deep breath in, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step right back into down dog. We're gonna take that sun in one more time, look to the top of your mat, walk up to the front. Deep bend in the knees, inhale, rise up. Exhale, arms down. One more time, deep breath in, arms up overhead. Exhale, dive it forward. Straight back as you come down. 2 big halfway lifts, really drawing those hips back and the crown forward. Feeling that big stretch as you come up halfway. Deep breath in, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step it back into down dog. Once you are there, we're gonna send the right leg up, keeping our hips square to the mat. So don't worry about trying to get your leg as high as you possibly can. We're just squaring those hips up, straight arms, head towards the mat. Knee is gonna come into your chest, and see if you can set it down next to that right thumb. So we're gonna set this foundation up first. We're bent in that front knee. Back leg is straight, small bend in the knee on that left leg, and then we're on the ball of that foot. We're gonna inhale and rise right up through the center, just like that modified lunge. And just like that modified lunge, we're sending that left hip forward and the right hip back. So squaring up to the front. You can keep your arms up, keep the shoulders down and in their sockets. We don't want shoulders up by the ears. Lots of space there. Next, inhale. We're gonna open up for warrior 2. So here we're pressing out through the blade of that back pinky toe. We're still bent in the front, and we're tucking our tail down. So just like in that seated position, we have that long line from tail to crown. That's what opens up that space for the tailbone to let all that stress that we carry in our hips release. So arms are out and shoulder blades are coming together. And the next deep breath in, we'll straighten the front leg, drop that front arm and come into triangle. So we're tucking that front hip up and under the back hip. Reaching both arms nice and long. So same arms as warrior 2, we're drawing the shoulder blades together, but now I'm reaching towards the ceiling and reaching towards the floor. And then let that top hand come down. We're gonna frame that front foot, take the back foot up to meet the front, and we're gonna take that on the other side. Deep bend in the knees, inhale, rise up. This is your sun A. Deep breath in, arms up again. Exhale, dive it forward. Take 2 halfway lifts. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step it back right into down dog. Hanging here for just a moment. And then we're gonna send that left leg up this time. Same thing, don't worry about that height and being all crazy with your hips. Want to square those hips up towards the front of the mat. Bring your knee into your chest, set it down next to that thumb. Set up that crescent lunge footing. So we're on the ball of that back foot. Inhale, rise up through the center. Exhale as you settle into that pose. Next, inhale, open up warrior 2. Next inhale, straighten the front leg. Let that front hand come down. Now tucking this left hip up and under the back hip. Then go ahead and frame that front foot. You can step that front foot back right into down dog. We're going to let our knees come wide, big toes together, press it back into child's pose. And coming back into that breath if you lost it. Psalm 46, God is our refuge and strength, a helper who is always found in time of trouble. Therefore, we will not be afraid. And the mountains topple into the depths of the seas. Breathing here, remembering that breath prayer. Breathing in that God is our refuge and strength. Exhaling all fear. Inhaling, God is my refuge and my strength. A refuge that you can come to. You find that quiet space in your home, on your mat, in your car. And you breathe in His strength and His peace, and you can exhale anything and everything that would keep you from believing that. Go ahead and let your, just walk your hands over to the right. Feel a big stretch on that side. And then you can go ahead and crawl your hands over to the other side. And then come back to the center. We're going to come back into tabletop. We're going to take that flow one more time before we come down and restore and close up. So go ahead and curl those toes again. Inhale, lift up through the ribs, set your hips up high. We're going to add on just a small bit. So when you're ready, we'll bring our feet together at the back. We're going to send our right leg up first. And now at its highest point, not its highest point that you can make your hip go all crazy. Let's still square those hips up. We're going to flex our ankle, bend the knee, and then just let it fall over to the left. So we're still staying in both hands. We're just opening that hip up towards the side. And then go ahead and let that leg come out nice and long. We're going to pull it into our chest, set it down next to that thumb. Set up that crescent lunge, and then inhale right up through the center. From here, we're going to take a small back bend. So after your inhale, with your exhale, we're just going to lean it back. So even if it's just a little bit, just looking towards our hands, towards the ceiling. Staying in that front knee. And then exhale back to the center. Next inhale, open up warrior two. Again, checking in with that tailbone. We don't want to have a big, what I'm not looking for is a big dip in that back, in that lower back. We want to just tuck it down, create lots of space there for that tailbone, all those little parts to open up. From here, just with your upper body, we're going to inhale and reach forward. And then exhale, send that front arm back. You can do whatever you want with this hand. You can just let it hang down below. You can wrap it if you want to. It can just be on your leg. We just want to keep lots of space here between your ear and your shoulder. Next big inhale, we're straightening the front leg and windmilling those arms all the way down. And then we can frame that front foot again. Back foot comes up to meet the front. Deep bend in the knees. Inhale, rise up. Taking that sun A to reset for the other side. Deep breath in, arms come up. Exhale, dive it forward. Straight back as you come all the way down. 2 halfway lifts. Deep breath in. Exhale, fold. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, fold. Plant the hands, step it back into down dog. With your feet together at the back of your mat, you can send that left leg up this time. And at its highest point, flex that ankle, bend the knee, and then let that leg fall over to the right. And then let that leg come up nice and long again. Knee comes into your chest and we can set it down next to that left thumb. Set it up for crescent lunge. Deep inhale, straight up through the center. Then we're gonna crescent this back. So with your next exhale, go ahead and just lean it back. Looking through your hands towards the sky or the ceiling, wherever you're at. Come back up to the middle. Next deep breath in, open up warrior two. Next inhale, reach it forward, just your top body. And then exhale, send that arm back. Feeling that big stretch in that left side body, but staying in both of those legs. I'm still in that knee on the left side. Next inhale, we're going to come all the way down to triangle. Let's frame that front foot again. We're going to kick the back foot up to meet the front. From here, we're going to do some more lower back tension release. We're going to come into ragdoll. So standing hip distance apart with those feet. We're going to grab opposite elbows with your palms and then just get nice and heavy in the upper body. So I'm trying to get that crown of my head down towards the mat. All my weight in that upper body, maybe even coming a little bit onto the balls of those toes. We're using that weight to traction that lower spine. So this is not about touching your toes with straight legs or anything like that. You can really put a big bend in those knees, getting the feeling of that chest coming down towards your thighs. And then from here we can let those hands come down. We're going to put a deeper bend in that right knee. Plant the right hand and then open up towards the left. So nice big twist here. And then doing the same thing on the opposite side. So bending that left knee planting the left hand and then opening up to the right. And then top hand can come down. We're gonna step right back into down dog. And then let your knees come nice and wide, big toes together, coming back into child's pose. God is our refuge and strength, a helper who is always found in times of trouble. Therefore, we will not be afraid, though the earth trembles and the mountains topple into the depths of the sea. You guys, I cannot even begin to explain how incredibly difficult this was. Not in fear, but just being so overwhelmed with every aspect of life. Even throughout doing this practice, the enemy's in my head saying, shut it up. You're doing terrible. You need to restart. This doesn't make sense. You're not saying anything. I had not read one of the verses correctly earlier, and I should just start over. And nothing of myself, but everything of God says, no, you can. And putting that faith in him, even just little by little and step by step, it's making all the difference here in this room for me. And I know that it makes a difference in everywhere that I go. And I know the same is for you. If you can breathe in that goodness that he is, that peace and the strength that he gives, you can exhale all of the things that are telling you you can't. In anything, in this dumb COVID-19 stuff, in every aspect of life. Big and small, he is the God who wants an intimate relationship with you, period. Let's come back into tabletop. Cross your ankles. We are going to come all the way down to our backs on the mat. We're going to bring our knees into our chest once we get there. And then just rock side to side, massaging that spine. You can bring your knees nice and close to you. I don't know if you can tell, but then for me, I can rock on that mid-back area. And then as I bring my knees further away, I can rock on my hips, which that feels really nice and yummy and breaks up that tension, and everywhere in between. So maybe you make big circles with your knees. Maybe you just keep them in, whatever is for you. Then from here, we're going to plant that right foot. We're going to make a number 4 here with that left foot. So I don't know if this will be helpful, but if this were you, this is what you should be seeing. And if this is enough of a stretch for you, you can stay right here. But if you want to, you can draw that right knee into your body, and then this left knee gets drawn away from you. So you start to feel that big stretch in that left side glute. And we're still breathing. We're still using that breath. And maybe that's all you can do is focus on the breath. Focus on that inhale and exhale and just taking that next one. Now we're just gonna switch sides. So planting that that left foot on the mat, right leg gets to be the number 4 this time. And then you can draw that left knee into your chest. And then you should feel that stretch right in here, right on that side part of your hip, right in your glute. It should feel really, really nice and good. And then let both of the feet come down. Maybe bring your knees into your chest again. We're going to take a spinal twist here. So sending that left leg out and keeping the right knee in. That right arm is going to come out like an uppercase T, and then just guide that knee across your body, bringing your gaze towards that outstretched arm. So nice big spinal twist, trying to keep our shoulders still on the floor, facing up, so we get that big twist in that mid-back space. Let that leg come back to the center again. I'm going to switch sides, so left knee comes in, right leg goes out, and then guide that knee across your body. Then that knee can come back to the center. Both knees can come in one last time. We're gonna let your knees fall down towards your shoulders. And then either grabbing the outsides of your feet with your palms or using your peace fingers to grab your great toe. We're gonna come into happy baby here as our final pose before Shavasana. So here is where you find any last movement that you need. You have freedom to do whatever you want right now. You can be nice and still. You can send one leg out long and then the other. Whatever. You can rock side to side. Whatever you want to do. You find your movement here or non-movement. And then whenever you're ready, you can let both legs come out nice and long ahead of you. You can tuck the shoulder blades underneath your chest. Palms can rest on the floor, or hands on the floor, palms towards the ceiling. And you can feel free to either keep up with that deep breath, that rhythm, that yogic breath, or you can let your breath come back to its natural state. is our refuge and our strength, a helper who is always found in times of trouble. Therefore, we will not be afraid. Though the earth trembles and the mountains topple into the depths of the seas. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to be so overwhelmed about that you cannot bring it to God. He is a helper that's always found, always. So as this is your final pose, I am going to just close us out in prayer, and you can stay here as long as you need to, or maybe as long as you are able to. If your mom and your kids are banging on the door to come in, then maybe time's up for you. But just push pause on this and breathe. Yeah. Heavenly Father, thank you. And however long ago I started this, I had no idea that I would make it to the end, to be completely honest. I pray for each and every person that is doing this flow tonight or tomorrow or whenever they're doing it. Lord, I pray that you would fill them so full of your Spirit that you're so tangibly present, that they could feel you. Lord, help us in these days that we don't know what is going to be next, what tomorrow is going to be like. Help us in all of our fears in work or fears in family and for others. You are God. You're still God. You're still on the throne. We put our trust in you, even when we can't see the end. We'll keep loving you and we'll keep putting our faith in you. Even if it's just those little blocks of those deep breaths, those breath prayers, Lord, help us. And when we fall short, the Holy Spirit just intercede for us. Take care of us, Lord, your people. Equip us to help those around us, to show your love, and to not be hung up by the enemy in any way, small, big, large. We love you, and it's in Jesus' precious name that we pray all of these things. Amen. So again, keep in Shavasana if you can, for as long as you need. Thank you for taking this class with me, and I hope to see you soon. I'm praying this will be over soon. With you, I'm sure. Thanks.